This is the all-new Kia e-Soul, and I know what you're thinking, it's different. Now, whether that's good different or bad different is a matter of personal opinion, but I can at least confirm that it's not a milk float or an ice cream truck or any of the other bizarre things it's been described as this week. It is in fact a reincarnation of an old Kia classic, and the Soul has always had a bit of a cult following here for those who like to stand out from the crowd. Not to mention it is pretty practical thanks to the very odd shape. But the big news with the new Soul is that it now comes with a fancy electric powertrain, and quite an impressive one at that, with a 64 kilowatt battery that makes it capable of up to 450 kilometres on a single charge. Plus, with current government grants, it starts at about €36,000, which isn't cheap by any means, but is still a lot less expensive than what you might have expected to pay for this type of range just a year ago. So now we can move on to the practical stuff, but before we do, now might be a good time to hit the subscribe button on this channel, and in return, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest new cars to hit the market. So one benefit of being very tall and shaped like a box is that you also get a boot that's very tall and shaped like a box. In other words, it's very practical. I also love the way it opens. It's a bit like a superhero's cape flowing in the wind. You have got a small bit of a load lip here, but other than that, the space is very open and usable. It certainly feels a lot more spacious in terms of height than other rivals, although it is just a little bit short on length. Now, the good news is it is very easy to extend that space into the rear by dropping the back seats. Room in the back is pretty decent. Legroom is very good for 5'6" me anyway, and it definitely feels a lot more spacious back here than it does in a Hyundai Kona EV. Headroom is particularly generous again because of that height, and there's a nice bit of width too, as well as only a very small hump in the floor, meaning you should be able to see three back here quite comfortably. When it's less crowded back here, you've got a pull-down centre armrest complete with cup holders, as well as a very thoughtful USB port so that the kids can charge their gadgets and hopefully stay nice and quiet back here while you're driving. The cabin is pretty funky up front. You've got these nice red accents on this one, but other than that, it's fairly typically Kia, and that's a good thing because it means it's all very simple and logically laid out. It's one of those cars that you can sit into and instantly feel at home because you know where everything is instinctively, with a good mix of physical buttons for things like aircon and volume control, as well as this new and improved 10.5-inch infotainment system. Spec is also really good. You get that larger screen as standard, as well as sat-nav, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, heated seats, 17-inch alloy wheels and active cruise control all as standard. Or you can upgrade to this K3 model for full leather upholstery, a heads-up display, blind spot monitoring and a Harman Kardon sound system complete with subwoofers in the boot. On the road, it is very much your typical electric car experience. And if you haven't had the opportunity to test drive one just yet, what I mean by that is it's very quiet and relaxing with plenty of power available from the off and a nice smooth uptake to that power because there's no gearbox or engine for it to translate through. So it's a very, very pleasant drive. Certainly a lot more refined than the old diesel Soul, though in fairness that wouldn't be too hard. In the centre here, instead of your traditional gear selector, what you'll find is a little twisty dial instead that will allow you to select stop and go just like a normal automatic. It's just a slightly more futuristic take on things, much like the Hyundai Kona and its buttons. And that is really all you need to worry about when it comes to driving an electric car. It's a bit like a bumper car, you just stop and go. Now you have got these regen pedals on the steering wheel, which will allow you to select the force of the regenerative braking, determining how much power you claw back when slowing down or stopping. And with a bit of practice, that can really help you get the most out of your range. In terms of energy usage, it does appear to be very accurate in that you drive 15 kilometres and you lose 15 kilometres off the clock, or sometimes even less, depending on how much you've been able to regenerate. And in fairness, that accuracy doesn't seem to drop too much at motorway speeds either, where it does seem to cope quite well, which is not something that you can say for all EVs, and is very good news for long distance drivers. Now, I've said it before about this type of range and I'll say it again. Once you get past 400 or 450 kilometres in this case, then range anxiety really should not be an issue anymore. That is practically Cork to Donegal on one charge, and I don't know too many drivers who would take on that type of journey without stopping at least once anyway. So a quick stop at a fast charge point in that case should be no harm at all. Providing, of course, there's no queues and that you can find one that's working, but that is an issue for another day. Providing you keep this one topped up regularly with the help of a home charger, like our one from charge.ie, then range anxiety should well and truly be a thing of the past. I think I might have found my electric soulmate here. It's cool, it's quirky, it's practical, and it's at the more reasonable end of the price scale. The only problem is that if you want one, you're looking at a wait of up to early next year at a minimum, because Kia, like every other electric car manufacturer out there at the moment, is struggling to keep up with the demand for battery-powered vehicles. And the problem with waiting until next year is that at that point there's going to be a whole new selection of BEVs to choose from, including new contenders from Peugeot and Opel and, of course, Volkswagen's much anticipated ID range. But at the moment, this, in my opinion, is the best value and most rounded option that you can buy. Do let me know what you think in the comments section below. Like and share if you enjoyed the video, and join us back here next week where we'll be seeing if its e-Niro sibling is as cool as this one.